All right, so welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage. He's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. Republicans in Santa Clarita Valley are celebrating some big wins, but as of this recording, some races are still too close to call. In sports, 3 teams from the Foothill League are in the CIF Southern Section football playoffs, and the Canyon High girls volleyball team is playing for a CIF Southern Section championship. The Dodgers won the World Series, taking down the New York Yankees in 5 games. The Rams won their 3rd game in a row, rallying in overtime to beat the Seahawks in Seattle. The Kings won their first 3 home games, but lost to the Chicago Blackhawks in a shootout to snap their home winning streak. So on Election Day, there were plenty of surprises. Donald Trump won re-election to the White House over Vice President Kamala Harris. I was at the election night party at Democratic headquarters in Santa Clarita. The mood quickly turned when the election results started rolling in. Republicans today are jubilant, having not only won the White House and the U.S. Senate, but they are also poised to take back a number of local elected positions in Santa Clarita Valley. Republicans are currently leading in races for Congress, the state Senate, and on school and water boards in Santa Clarita. There are also some victories for Democrats, but Republicans are prevailing in elections on national, state, and local levels. Republican Mike Garcia currently has a narrow lead in the race for the 27th Congressional District over Democrat George Whitesides. As of Wednesday, Garcia has 51% of the vote and about a 5,000 vote lead. In other races, Republican Suzette Valadares is leading the race for State Senate District 23 over Democrat Kip Muller. She has a 53% to 47% lead. Of course, this district is in both Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties. Valadares is a former state assemblywoman. She was defeated by Pilar Schiavo in 2022. Kip Muller is an attorney who had an extremely close race with incumbent Senator Scott Wilk in 2020. Kip Muller had this to say.
Hi everyone, this is Baxter. I'm Kip Muller running for State Senate District 23. As we all know, this is an extremely consequential election. Everything's on the ballot: democracy, reproductive freedom, affordability, public safety. And this region where I'm seeking to represent has been forgotten for a very, very long time. We're trying to bring real representation, flip this seat, and bring change to the Antelope Valley, Victor Valley, Santa Clarita Valley that's long overdue.
So Democrat Pilar Schiavo is winning her re-election bid to in the California Assembly over Patrick Gibson. She has a slim lead, 51% to 49%, or by about 2,500 votes. Schiavo is still expected to win re-election, but I think people are surprised at just how close the election is at the moment. In the race for Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hochman defeated incumbent George Gascon with 61% of the vote. Hochman ran on a tough on crime platform. Gascon has been criticized for attempting to implement progressive policies into the justice system. Hochman had this to say on Wednesday, November 6th.
We have been to bakeries all over, wonderful Reuben's Bakeries in Compton, in East Los Angeles, in San Pedro, in Long Beach. We love to eat, apparently. And also, bakeries are getting hard hit by a crime, so we want to visit the bakeries in Santa Clarita and in the Antelope Valley, in Santa Monica, Rosemead, Artesia, Glendale, Burbank. This is an amazing county, and we have been on this magical journey. We've met with Black, white, Latino, Asian groups. We've been in Sikh-Gujaras, Hindu temples, synagogues. We've been in mosques. We have been in Black churches, Korean churches, Latino churches, Armenian churches, evangelical churches, traveling all over this amazing county, meeting with thousands of people. And the message has constantly been clear. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. That they have looked at their safety. And this is safety. It turns out that safety is a crossover issue in our political environment amongst the demographics out there and the geographics out there, that everyone wants to have a safe environment for themselves and their family. They want to simply go out, not just at night, but during the day, and not have to worry about coming back to a home that's been robbed or a car that's been broken into. They own a store, and so we've met with so many store owners out there. They don't want to have a situation where they can no longer even call the police department because the police department says our hands are tied. So here's what I'm here to tell the police department. Your hands aren't tied anymore. The DA's office will not have a political agenda ruling what goes on and what gets prosecuted. We will go back to just two things, the facts and the law. The fact that I even have to say that, it's shocking, but I have to say that. And what I'd like to do right now, all law enforcement officers or first responders who are here, raise your hands. Put your hands up. And let us all give you a huge thank you. And let me add, everyone who is right now or has been in the district attorney's office who's here, raise your hands and get them out. Fantastic. You guys have been on the front lines. I mean, it's been incredible. I mean, with a boss that hasn't had your back, you have been right there doing justice for the residents of this county with your hands tied behind your back. And I'm here to tell you, your hands will no longer be tied.
So Democrat Adam Schiff won the election for U.S. Senate over Steve Garvey in a landslide. Schiff has 64% of the vote to Garvey's 36%.
Hello, California! And thank you to Speaker Rob Regas. We are so lucky to have Rob Regas as our Speaker of the State Assembly, are we not? Isn't it incredible? It is such a delight to be here with you tonight. And before I begin, I want to acknowledge my opponent, Steve Garvey. I know it's not easy to be a candidate for any office. It's hard on you, it's hard on your loved ones, and I wish him well. And I join him in celebrating the Dodgers' amazing win over the Yankees. Tonight, I am especially grateful to the millions of Californians who put their faith in me. I also find myself thinking about Senator Dianne Feinstein, who was a friend and mentor, and as long as I knew her, she was a giant in the U.S. Senate. Nobody will be able to fill Dianne's immense shoes, but her memory will be my guide. And tonight, I am so humbled to be your next United States Senator. Thank you, California. I will spend every day trying to repay the trust that you have placed in me by serving this golden state with all of my heart and soul. Thank you, California. Tonight is going to be a very long night. We won't know the result of every race. We will need to be patient. And whatever the result of the presidential race, we know there will be serious challenges facing the state of California and the country. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of the way people may have voted, I want to make one thing clear. As your senator, I am committed to standing up for every Californian. I am committed to taking on the big fights to protect our freedoms and to protect our democracy. California will continue to be at the forefront of progress, the bulwark of democracy, the champion of innovation, and the protector of our rights and freedoms. We are a big, beautiful, diverse, and generous state. We look out for each other. We stand up for each other. We extend our hands to lift up each other. We celebrate and appreciate our different backgrounds and cultures. I've seen it firsthand. From the first day I launched this campaign to the visits I've made to nearly every corner of the Golden State. From meeting with local leaders in the border community of Calexico to seeing the restoration of redwoods north of Willits, I've met the most amazing people all across California. I've listened to your concerns, I've heard your fears, I've shared your hopes, and imagined the future that you want to see for yourselves and for your children. And because of this, every day I woke up energized and hopeful.
And in the race for the lone city council seat, that's District 1, is very tight right now. So Tim Burkhart, Patsy Ayala, and Bryce Jepson are virtually tied and have traded the lead as results came in on election night. Ayala currently, as of this recording, has a 15-vote lead over Burkhart, and Bryce Jepson is trailing both by just over 300 votes at the time we are recording this. The race is still too close to call. In the race for Castaic Union School District Board, Eric Richardson won with 59% of the vote over Stephen Sanson. In Newhall School District Board race, Susan Solomon is winning with 64% of the vote over Myra Cuellar. So there are a couple close races in the Santa Clarita Community College Board of Trustees. Board President Adela Alonso is trailing challenger Scott Schauer by about 340 votes in the Area 2 race. Businessman Fred Arnold has a commanding lead in the race for Area 3 over Andrew Chabon, a former staffer for both Assemblywoman Christy Smith and Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. Arnold leads with 49% of the vote to 38% for Chabon. In Area 4, Charlene Johnson leads incumbent Jerry Danielson with 55% of the vote. In Area 1, attorney Darlene Trevino holds the lead over Michelle Campbell, the former staffer for Assemblywoman Christy Smith, with 58% of the vote. So the College of the Canyons has been going through a tumultuous time with the recent resignation of longtime Chancellor Diane Van Hook and an exodus of staff at the college. The election pitted the College of the Canyons Faculty Association against members of the COC Foundation for control of the board. And as of right now, it appears that the foundation is on track to take a majority of the seats on the COC Board of Trustees. So in the race for the Saugus Union School Board, Catherine Cooper won 57% of the vote over Moms for Liberty candidate Mark White. And the subject of Saugus, Measure N failed, and this was a bond measure meant to retrofit facilities in the Saugus Union School District to protect children and teachers from earthquakes. The schools are also meant to be centers for the community during natural disasters such as wildfires and earthquakes. Retrofitting the schools would allow these buildings to survive an earthquake and be used for temporary shelter by residents. And SUSD is actually required to update the buildings to comply with state law. In the Hart Board race for Area 1, incumbent and longtime board member Linda Storley is losing to Akash Ahuja, who has 39% of the votes. Gloria Mercado Fortin is in second place in the election with 32% of the vote to Storley's 28%. In Area 4, Aaron Wilson is cruising to with a 65% lead over Eric Anderson. In the election for the Santa Clarita Valley Water Agency, Gary Martin has won re-election, and Dan Masnada will replace Beth Bronstein on the board. In Division 2, Peter Orchowski won a second term on the board. Ken Cooper, the son of a sitting board member, Bill Cooper, also won a seat on the board. Incumbent Kathy Armitage won the Division 3 full-term race with around 60%, defeating Holly Schroeder, an executive at Drink Pack, a manufacturer that manufactures beverages here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Ken Peterson has won the Division 3 two-year term race with over 60%. You're listening to KQRU 107.9 Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9 and on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you listen to podcasts. So I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host Tim, who will be talking about local sports. Tim?
Okay, so the Valencia or the Foothill League football season had its last week on Friday, and it turns out that Valencia, after a really poor start, they were 0-4 in their first 4 games. They ended up winning their second Foothill League title in a row. The Valencia football team shut out West Ranch 35-0 and won the Foothill League championship with a 5-0 record. Valencia scored all 35 points in the first half, scoring 5 touchdowns. Vic Seymour had an 88-yard touchdown pass, returned an interception for a touchdown, and blocked a field goal. He caught 5 passes for 196 yards. Brady Bredhauer passed for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. The running back Brian Bonner rushed for 142 yards, caught 2 passes for 85 yards, scored 2 touchdowns, and had 227 yards from scrimmage. Valencia won its 14th Foothill League championship and advanced to the CIF Southern Section Division 5 playoffs. The Vikings play Lakewood at home in the first round. Lakewood is 6-4 and the third-place team from the Moore League. The game is at Valencia High. Hart finished in second place in the Foothill League. Hart quarterback Jacob Paisano threw 5 touchdown passes and caught a touchdown pass in his team's 54-40 win over Saugus. Paisano returned for Hart after recovering from a shoulder injury and passed for 312 yards. Parker Maxwell caught 10 passes for 196 yards and scored 3 touchdowns. He also threw the touchdown pass to Paisano. Hart running back Zach Ragozic rushed for 149 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. Saugus scored on a kickoff return by Jonathan Sabatucci. Landon Lattimore caught 2 touchdown passes, and Matt Long scored 3 touchdowns for Saugus. Hart finishes with a 4-1 record in the Foothill League. The Hawks will play Rancho Verde in the first round of the Southern Section Division 6 playoffs. Rancho Verde is 6-4 and the third-place team from the Ivy League. That game is at College of the Canyons. Golden Valley earned a playoff spot and beat Canyon. The Golden Valley football team built a big lead and beat Canyon 35-21 to finish in third place in the Foothill League. Jamison Torres scored 3 touchdowns and rushed for 165 yards for Golden Valley. Quarterback Brandon Contreras threw a touchdown pass and rushed for a touchdown. Jonah Garcia returned an interception for a touchdown in the second quarter to give Golden Valley a 28-7 lead. Quarterback Sebastian Martinez threw 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. Joshua Cambaliza scored 2 touchdowns and caught 5 passes for 124 yards. Golden Valley is 4-2 in the Foothill League and will play El Toro on the road in the first round of the Southern Section Division 7 playoffs. El Toro is 5-5 and the third-place team from the Iota League. In other football news, you had some other football teams make the playoffs from the Santa Clarita Valley. The Trinity Classical Academy went undefeated and won the Cottonwood League with a 10-0 record. Trinity will play Carter High in the first round of the Southern Section Division 12 playoffs. Carter is 6-3 and the second-place team from the Skyline League. Vasquez High finished in second place in the Manzanita League and will play Pioneer High in the first round of the Southern Section Division 14 playoffs. Vasquez is 6-4. Pioneer is 5-5. The Santa Clarita Christian won the Heritage League Championship and will play Faith Baptist in the first round of the Southern Section Division 1 8-man football playoffs. Santa Clarita Christian is 7-2, Faith Baptist is 8-1, and an at-large team from the Heritage League. So we're going to move on to some girls volleyball news. The Canyon High girls volleyball team will play in the CIF Southern Section championship match. The Canyon High girls volleyball team plays Corona in the championship match of the CIF Southern Section Division 5 playoffs. Canyon swept the Valencia girls volleyball team in the semifinals to reach the championship match. Canyon was the 4th-place team from the Foothill League. Corona was an at-large playoff team from the Big 8 League. Canyon beat Wiseburn Da Vinci in the first round, St. Anthony in the second round, and Flint Ridge Prep in the quarterfinals. Canyon is 22-13. Corona is 23-14. And the championship match is Saturday at Corona. Now we're going to move on to the baseball, where the Dodgers won the World Series over the New York Yankees.
From a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
The The Dodgers won the World Series in 5 games against the New York Yankees. It was a wild finish to the series, with the Dodgers erasing a 5-run deficit to win Game 5 and end the series at Yankee Stadium. The Dodgers were down 5-0 in the 5th inning. The Yankees chased Dodgers starter Jack Flaherty in the 2nd inning, and it looked like the Yankees were going to send the series back to L.A. for Game 6. But the Dodgers took advantage of 3 Yankee miscues in the 5th inning, scored 5 runs, and tied the score 5-5. The Yankees took the lead again 6-5 before the Dodgers scored 2 runs in the 8th inning to take a 7-6 lead. Mookie Betts drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th inning with a sacrifice fly. The Dodgers brought in Walker Buehler to pitch the 9th inning and end the series. Freddie Freeman was the World Series MVP. He drove in 12 runs and hit 4 home runs in the series. His grand slam in Game 1 was the decisive blow for the Dodgers and a 6-3 win. It was the 8th time the Dodgers won the World Series. The last time was in 2020. It was the 4th time the Dodgers beat the Yankees to win the World Series. The Dodgers beat the Yankees in 1981, 1963, and 1955 when the team was still in Brooklyn. So that's a wrap for the baseball season for the Dodgers.
All right, so thank you, Tim. So let's talk about the NFL. So the Los Angeles Rams put together one of his best defensive performances of the season against the Seattle Seahawks and won 26-20 in overtime in the pivotal NFC West game. The Rams picked off 3 passes, 1 for a touchdown return, and had 7 sacks in the game. Cameron Kinchins had 2 of those interceptions. He returned one of them 103 yards for a touchdown in the second half. Jalen McCullough had the other interception for the Rams. Rookie Braden Fisk recorded 2 sacks, and the Rams sacked Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith 7 times. So the Rams have won 3 games in a row and are 4-4. The Seattle Seahawks dropped to 4-5 and into last place in the division after the loss. The NFC West standings are tight, with the Arizona Cardinals leading with a 5-4 record. The 49ers are tied with the Rams in second place at 4-4. So Rams coach Sean McVay talked about the team's sudden turnaround.
And then you guys, as the defense, have 15 sacks by players in their first or second year, which leads the NFL. Curious what stands out about that group and the contributions they've made for this season.
Well, I think, number one, these guys are doing a great job. I think the coaches have done a great job putting them in the right spots. And then ultimately it's a player's game. And, there was an investment in this draft class, especially when you look at with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. I thought both of those guys made their presence felt in the big way yesterday. I thought yesterday was kind of a coming out party for Braden Fisk in a way. He's done some really good things, but I thought, it's tough that he only got charted with 2 sacks. He sure had an impact on a lot more than that when you go back and you watch the film, but he and Verse have been really good. You look at the, just the effectiveness. I thought Tyler Davis, played a really good game yesterday, got some good snaps. And Giff Smith and Joe Caniglio and AC Carter have really done a great job, really leading that group. Up front, then you're seeing Jalen McCullough seem like he's always in the right spot at the right time. Cam Kitchens. So really this defensive group as a whole and just this draft class and really, just this rookie class, I should say, Sarah, I've been really pleased with them and they're earning their confidence. These guys work really hard throughout the course of the week. They're earning their confidence and it's really fun to see the maturation and the growth as we go week to week. Yeah, I think it's as simple as this. When you really look at there's a lot of great things these guys possess, Stu, but in a very cyclical league, things change, schemes change, consistent things that show up, toughness wins over time. Tough people last, tough times don't last, tough people do. We wanted to find tough people. We wanted to find mentally and physically tough players that have an edge and an energy and then an ability to execute in crunch time moments. And those guys were checking those boxes in their career and they're starting to, you're starting to see it come to life here for us. That's really probably the least amount of words when I know I can just talk forever to you guys.
So McVay was also asked if he had talked to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts after the Dodgers won the World Series.
Celebration going on in the city. Have you had a chance to talk to Dave Roberts yet?
I have. Yeah, Dave's great. I was really happy for Dave and more impressed with just the consistency at which he's led over time. Talked to him a little bit before the World Series and then got a chance to talk to him right before they had their parade. So Dave's awesome. I look up to Dave. We try to mimic and emulate a lot of the ways that he goes about it. And that's a pretty cool little deal. that being able to lead the way and manage those guys, and you could see the love and respect that they all have for one another and the way they've navigated through it. Congrats to the Dodgers and Dave Roberts. He knows what a fan of his I am.
So the Rams made one move at the trade deadline. They sent defensive back Tre'Davious White to the Baltimore Ravens for draft picks. And let's shift gears and let's talk about hockey, the NHL. So after spending the first 2 weeks in 7 games on the road to open the season, the Los Angeles Kings won their first 3 games at home and added an impressive win over the Nashville Predators on the road. But they mixed in a shootout loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. The Kings won their home opener against the San Jose Sharks and followed with home wins over the Utah Hockey Club and Vegas Golden Knights. But the Kings blew a 2-goal lead in the third person against the Blackhawks and lost in a shootout 4-3. It was the first home loss of the season for the Kings. Alex Defrier scored 2 goals against the Blackhawks and leads the team with 8 goals and the first 13 games of the season. So Kings coach Jim Heller talked about how well Leferrier has been playing at the start of the season.
Can you comment on the level of Alex's play lately?
Yeah, I mean, he's been our most consistent player through 12 games. So puck's going in for him. I think he only had 2 shots. Somebody will go better than me probably. I think he only had 2, found it at him, both of them. So those things tend to even out over some time. But right now he's hot and he's shooting well, finding good spots. But this game is an all-round game. So, it's nice that he's scoring, and we'll always take goals for sure. But just like that, we played in the game, he's taking a step forward.
Yeah, you talk about that. He got on his goal.
Leferrier talked about contributing to the team's hot start to the season. So with a 5-1 win over the Wild in Minnesota, the Kings moved into first place in the Pacific Division. Trevor Lewis scored 2 goals. Quentin Byfield scored his first goal of the season, and the Kings ended their little 2-game road trip on a winning note. So Lewis scored the 100th goal of his NHL career, and his second goal gave him 101. So that's our show. Tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. So leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly Online. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.